Hi, today we're going to wrap up the endocrine system. We're going to be talking about the remaining major glands in the system, and then we are going to go through just a quick few reminders about how to study and get ready for your test that's going to be next class, which will be in the lockdown browser, and I will send you an access code from. So the first gland we're going to talk about today is the thyroid gland. When you think about the thyroid gland, it makes two hormones, thyroxine and triiodiothionine, or lovingly known as T3 and T4. T4's main job is to increase your metabolism. Kind of thing that I would love to have so I could eat whatever I want, but in turn, while doing that, it also increases your heart rate. So people who have problems with having excess T4 tend to have issues with having way too fast of a heart rate, resting heart rate. T3, on the other hand, is kind of a precursor to T4. So it gets turned into T4 as your body needs it. The body needs it. So its job is also to increase metabolism. Now you have to remember that this is these are tropic hormones. So the stimulus, remember, is going to start all the way up in the hypothalamus. So we're going to start up in that hypothalamus. It's going to release TRH. And that TRH is going to hit the pituitary gland, which is then going to release TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. And then that is going to stimulate the production of T3 and T4, or T4 and T3, depending on which way you're looking at this sheet. So there are three major diseases and conditions that you need to know about. There's a lot of diseases and conditions of the thyroid gland, but the three major ones are hyperthyroidism, also sometimes called Graves' disease. It has a couple of things that are identifiable. Remember how I said all of these endocrine things are things you can see on people? These guys get bug eyes. Like the guy Igor from from the Frankenstein movie with Gene Wilder. And this bug eyes is called exophthalmosis. Okay, and so this is a very common thing that their eyes are kind of bulging out of their head. They're very rounded. They can get really pronounced. And then the other thing they get is something called a goiter. So the other day when I had you feel where your thyroid was, this thyroid actually gets inflamed and swollen. So it's a swollen, inflamed, enlarged thyroid. And it's pretty obvious on these people. They get these big lumps. Sometimes their necks get totally distended. And usually, as you're doing your diseases and conditions, you'll see that they have to have surgeries to get this fixed. Hypothyroidism. So this guy is too much. This guy is not enough. These are the guys who eat the donut and who look at the donut and put on 5 pounds. Roidism. Okay. Most commonly, the most genetic birth kind of found is called myxedema. They have delayed growth. This is usually very obvious in kids. You could look up pictures on the internet of these kids. They have very distinct facial features. They have weight gain because they're not secreting enough thyroid hormone, so just looking at the donut gives them, puts weight on them. They're very tired, and they have low energy, again, because they're just taking all their food and putting it into fat, and they're typically cold. People with hyperthyroidism are always complaining about they're hot. They're so hot because their body is just warm all the time. The last one, and I know you're going to do more research on this, is called creatinism. It also has a very distinctive body shape. This is congenital, so you're born with it. Hypothyroidism. It actually causes a lot of problems with kids, little kids. They're small in size. You can, again, look up pictures of these guys. They have, their organs and facial features are not proportional to their bodies. Organs and facial features not proportional. And they tend to have puffy eyes. Okay. And they tend to suffer from depression because of very obvious that something is not right with them. So that's number one. I'll get you in the next one in a sec.